So, let's hope this is working. There we go. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the cockpit of Alan's car.
The cockpit.
It's 6 minutes past 4, Saturday afternoon, here in sunny Bournemouth. And we've just come back from a little bit of a demonstration at the town hall in Bournemouth, which was pretty okay, wasn't it, today?
Yeah, good turnout, I think. Yeah, last week was a bit of a letdown, but we didn't know that they'd gone somewhere else. They went to London last week, didn't they? So
they did indeed.
The crowd was not there, but it was here today, and there was a lot of going about, wasn't it, today?
There was quite interesting. We got there, well, I got there about 1 o'clock-ish. You got there a little bit later because they pulled it forward an hour.
Just got there, yeah, I didn't know that. So, yeah, supposed to be at 2, I thought, anyway. But I just got there as you were walking off, so I did catch you in the Bournemouth Gardens, thank God. So,
yeah. And then what happened was we had some police there, with police escorts, and we also had what they called liaison officers, which was quite interesting.
Means getting a few more people there now.
With their sky blue uniforms, the same colour of the UN flag, by the way, for all you conspiracy theorists. 33 segments on the UN flag, flat Earth map, and light blue. But anyway, that's going off tangent there. And and so we met up at the town hall, and then we started walking on our merry ways through Bournemouth, and I'd done some footage of it. I'll put it on there on a later date. But what was your take on it in general, Alan, today? How did you feel about it? Did you think the message was getting out, etc., etc.?
Yeah, no, it's good. Like, obviously, it's always good for more people to come, and it does feel like the crowds are getting bigger. Because I remember going past there probably like a few months ago, and I remember going past, and there was a group of people, obviously by the Bournemouth Council, and there was nowhere near as many. And I actually didn't have a clue who they were, what they were doing. And then one day I caught one of their signs, and I sort of realised, and that's why obviously I've started going. But yeah, it's a good turnout now. I feel like it's a bit like crazy, innit? Like, obviously you're gonna get people in the day-to-day, just in the streets, and they look at you like you're actually nuts, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's frustrating. But at the same time, there was many people coming out the shops, because we were walking up doing a route around Bournemouth, and a lot of people were coming out the shops and just saying, like, thanks, because obviously they know we're sticking up for their rights, really, to try and just to say stay open, don't be like fooled into another lockdown, and just eventually, because these businesses ain't going to be able to survive if they keep locking down, keep reducing their capacities, and just following these stupid rules and regulations. So a lot of the shops could see really, why we're out in the streets today, and they were grateful coming out and speaking. And yeah, so it was good. Like I said, there's two kinds of people who can sort of see whether they're on one side of the road, like, yeah, we know something's going on, but we're not quite there to go on the other side of the road and start saying something about it, but they get it. And then there's also the other type of people who are just like completely minds closed. They just really think you're nuts, and they just think like this is all going to go back to normal by the end of the year or whatever. Yeah, and it's clearly not.
I noticed today that there were people of all shapes and sizes and ages and genders.
Yeah, all ages
and everything, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
And even when we were walking through town, I noticed as well that it was resonating with a few people. I mean, shopkeepers were coming out waving. There were one or two idiots, obviously, you're going to get that anywhere, but cars driving past, sort of tooting horns.
And bus drivers as well, wasn't it?
Bus drivers as well, which is quite funny, yeah. I mean, the passengers wouldn't have been very happy, all there in their masks.
Yeah, I know, He was like, So.
He was waiting, he wasn't moving for anybody, and the passengers were in the back trying to get somewhere, and he was congratulating us. That was quite nice. But it was quite funny, because the police were then leading us down one road that we didn't want to go, and then everyone just
ignored them and went the way we wanted to go, wasn't it?
That was quite interesting. I thought, well, I've seen an episode of this on Spooks once, where they lead the crowd of people into an alleyway, as it were, and then they shut the other end of the alleyway down, and then got you all locked in, kind of thing.
Off, and
you get boxed off, but that didn't happen, by the way. But that was interesting. And we also found out today that the one or two of them who were along for the walk today, they were organising the London trips, right? Yep.
There's a group. That's what happened last week. So a lot of them went to London. I actually went to London a few weeks before, and they went last week. So yeah, they're doing it, getting a few coach loads of them going up together. With like-minded people, obviously, and it's always nice to be in your own crowd, like if you go on your own or just a couple of you can still feel a bit isolated, especially when you're not wearing a mask on public transport and stuff. And thank God I've got over it now. I don't care what anyone thinks, but some people get nervous.
Well, this is the thing. Amongst the crowd that we had today, there were people obviously at all levels, some who clearly they were new and a bit anxious around it, and some of them who were like walking around a little bit like we were, sort of going, well, whether you shout at me or whatever, I really couldn't give a shit, to be honest. Excuse my language. I could tell that a little bit in the crowd. Some were sort of hiding behind their signs. One of them had my favourite sign of all time, which was "Say no to the prick."
Say no to the prick.
Say no to the prick, because it's coming. Say no. Just say no, kids.
No pricks.
No pricks. No vaccines, no nothing, because that's on the horizon. We heard today, didn't we, that apparently there's going to be an announcement soon?
Yeah, so this is why I think it was a perfect day today, because it's already over the mainstream press today, online and I think in the papers, but they were saying that there's going to be a national lockdown coming, or announced today or tomorrow, which are going to try and put into effect on Wednesday. And especially in Bournemouth. Bournemouth's one of them places where there hasn't been, you know, they're going on cases at the minute anyway, which is a load of crap. But Bournemouth's one of them areas which is out of like most of the country, it's one of the low risk zones, or whatever they keep saying. But it's going to affect obviously people nationally, whether there's cases or not, and obviously people are going to be pissed off. And I think today going around town, there obviously were people who were like seeing that information in the paper today, probably pissed off, and then obviously then you see the crowds of people going around and just trying to expose some truths. And put some perspective on it, and that's why I think probably a lot of people may resonate today. But the news itself is just another. It doesn't make sense. They're not reacting. They're not looking at reality and going, right, this is a good step to take. They're just rolling out a script, and that's why none of it makes sense, because they're just doing the next thing in line, and it was going to happen. And my prediction is that they're going to put this national lockdown, and they're going to try and ramp it all up too, because this is about the time they're saying the vaccine is going to be coming out soon. So it's going to be sort of, my prediction is going to be all coming together in time for when that gets released, and then that will be the ticket out of it all. That's what they're saying, and I just predict that's where it's going.
Well, we alluded to it in our last little chat when we were saying that is going to be the so-called solution that they offer, right? So we've had the problem, in inverted commas. And then, you know, the reaction of the crowd is, of course, let's wear the mask, oh my God, whatever, for whatever reason, health or complicity or whatever. And then, of course, the next step, which will be, well, you don't want any of that nonsense anymore? Here's a vaccine.
Yep.
And make sure that you register that you have taken it, otherwise we might have to start stopping your money or not letting you into certain establishments or whatever.
The COVID pass, which is a legit. If you look up, the Ireland have released it. If you go onto, I don't know what it is for sure, I think it's like COVID pass Ireland or something along them lines, but they've got one where they're trying to introduce a 3-tier system where it's like green, amber and red. And
what do they love about these tiers?
Yeah, exactly, always tiers.
Tiers.
And it's the same in China. They have this like a social credit score sign, and it runs on a 3-tier: green, amber and red. And they're trying to do the same in Ireland. There's also ones that they're doing for the planes, and that started at Heathrow for vaccination certificates. But yeah, like you're saying, it's probably going to be a part of that. They're going to try and release that. And this is my other prediction, is that's when you're going to see the kickback. Most people will wear a mask because to them, I just wear a mask in the shop. They don't see the big picture, like, you know, anything other than like, we're just being told to do it. This will all be over soon, so I'll just go along with the mask. I don't want confrontation in the shop. I don't want someone coming up to me and having a go at me, so I'll just do it. Yeah. But when it comes to the vaccine, I feel like you'll get a different response. I think a lot of people go, well, I'm not getting a vaccine, and I'm not being, like, you know, manipulated into getting it by saying you can't go to work or whatever.
Well, while you're saying that, let me play a little bit of devil's advocate, which is what I quite enjoy. What if then it gets to the point where people say, well, look, listen, you're going to have to take the vaccine, because if you don't, you're going to lose your job.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That to
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay. But then when you do lose your job, you'll qualify for certain help from the state, let's say, which is where they're trying to get everybody really anyway.
Universal basic income.
Universal based income, which means that you're in their hands totally, which is what we said last
time.
Free
money, basically. So it sounds good in principle.
It sounds good in principle. It sounds like they're doing us a favour and helping us out.
Yeah.
Because we need their help, of course, because this naughty virus. Now, how far do you think, is the point I was going to get to, people are willing to go to stand their ground and say, no, I'm not putting that vaccination in me or my kids?
I think personally a lot, because I think there's a lot of fear around the vaccine. That's the difference. I think people are scared genuinely about their health. There's people who've had adverse reactions in the trials, and also there's obviously a lot of people sharing information. You know, just the fact is vaccines are never normally done in a year. Normally they have massive studies. Normally,
absolutely,
like big studies over long periods of time, and you can't even. The thing is as well, you can't say look, just say like you're, you know, I'm not pro or anti-vaccine. I'm just pro like science and pro-choice, right? And just go by the science. How can you have a real idea of what the effects would be from something of only injecting someone with it through the trials and then only having a month or two? You don't know what could happen in a year or 2 years or 3 years.
Exactly.
So you don't know what the scale or the implication will be over a long period of time. You can't just say it's been tested a couple of months ago, no one's died on the spot or whatever, or not many or whatever, not many have had instant adverse reactions, so that's good enough. That could potentially not have any effect now, but maybe 6 months, a year, 10 years down the line, you may start getting, you know, maybe dementia, or I'm not saying that, but just any kind of thing which is going to be later on down the line as a result of getting that vaccine. So you don't know. So I think people, out of fear for their health, that will be enough for them to go, I'm not having this, but I'll actually stick up for my right with this, and they join in together, because that's when you'll find other people who's like on the same boat as you, or you're not getting a vaccine, well I'm not, let's stick together, let's go to this protest, let's go and do this, and this, let's stick up for our rights and fight back.
It's funny you're saying that. Well, it's not funny, but it's good that you're saying that, because I noticed with social media, when I was talking about face masks, I was getting a lot of rebuttal from people. But yet now that I've been putting up, for example, I posted something where there was a T-shirt that a lady wore and it said "Say no to the prick" and it had Bill Gates' face, and it was like a bit pop arty. I was getting positive responses to that, so it
changed now.
There's that change of, well, okay, the face mask, we can argue till the cows come home about that, but vaccinations, that's like, all right, the games stop there, don't they? It's like, we're talking serious business here. And because even today we had conversations with people who were saying, well, nobody knows what's in that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember we were talking about it earlier, right? Is it AI? Is it this? Is it that? I mean, there were all sorts of wonderful things being mentioned earlier about what could be in it.
Yeah. It's an RNA vaccine, they're saying, that is reported, you can see that in the mainstream press or whatever. And an RNA is not your typical vaccine. It's actually alters your DNA. So like, it's not, I don't think it's even been used before. So don't quote me on that, I'm pretty sure. So you'd have to look into it, but it's not your usual type. So again, you're going to put an experimental or a new type of vaccine into you. Like, I know I'm not. And the thing is, if you're a healthy person and you take care of your body, because there's not enough. People say like, oh, they do try and recommend health. To me, the government does not do good enough job in promoting a healthy lifestyle, like pushing it hard, getting fresh air, connecting with people, just being out in nature more. They don't push any of that stuff because it's not a tablet, it's not some pharmaceutical that you can sell. And that's why, to me, vaccines and all that kind of stuff, it's just a pharmaceutical option. They don't say like, just have a great immune system, be healthy and you'll be fine. And to me, that just shows you they want you to have someone who's going to make money. And it's like, I've got a healthy immune system and I'd rather take my own risks with what, God-given, whatever you want to call it. I've got an immune system. And I don't want to inject anything. I don't want to pierce my skin, put some crap in there. I don't know what it is.
And and it plays into the advantage of the system in terms of it boosts up their numbers of people who are falling ill, because they're keeping them confined to barracks, so to speak. Whether it's care homes where they're keeping people confined to their rooms and not allowing them out for their daily walks and exercises, or what they were doing with us at the beginning of lockdown in March, what I've suspected is going to happen this week, which is where they're going to start limiting people to one exercise a day.
Oh, mate.
And all that nonsense, closing down hairdressers and stuff. I'm not bothered about that, but fundamental things that us as humans should be allowed to do, which is go for a bloody walk.
Mate, there should one, if you're a free man, can say you can go out your house once a day for a walk. You're a free, sovereign human being.
It is ludicrous.
Yeah, and you can't do it. And I'm not saying that to be some kind of like, anarchist or telling you to go out and do something crazy. It's your right to go out for a walk. If you want to go out more than once a day for a bit of exercise, you can do it. It's not like, you don't need to be told that.
I mean, is it going to go as far as what it is in France, where when you leave your house, you've got to fill out a form and tell the police where you're going, how long you're going there for, what shop you're going to, when you're coming back.
That's crazy.
And you have to show them your ID. You have to wear a face mask on the street, even if you're walking your doggy.
And that can't be
and
healthy.
And I said this in the last talk that we had, and they get fined 145, I think, but don't misquote, it might be 150 euros on the spot if they're not wearing a mask.
Oh my God.
And a 9 o'clock in the evening curfew. Now, if they can do that in France, who have this reputation for going on the streets and fighting for their rights,
and they
can certainly do it in the UK.
Yeah, exactly. French are quite like, they get to the streets and riot, don't they?
They normally would do, yeah.
They did for the yellow vest, didn't they?
Well, they did it in Paris just recently, didn't they? There were some things posted on social media about people hitting the streets now trying to get out of Paris.
Yeah, I've seen the videos all queuing up to get out.
Trying to get out.
Good on them.
Well, the thing is, motorways in France are all toll roads.
Oh, so you shut the tolls off.
So they can shut the tolls off and keep everyone stuck on the motorways.
Crazy, mate.
And it's the same in Spain and Portugal. They're all toll roads.
You need to be out in the country right now. If you had a home in the country, that's where you need to stay. I'd never move to a city anymore.
Well, we're on the periphery here. We're just about okay, I think. But then again, we're still on an island.
Yeah.
So we can't really get that far.
Can't get away.
You ain't gonna, unless you're going to swim to Sweden.
I want to go to Sweden. I would like to get there just for a bit of normality. Go there for 6 months and just let some of this, play its course. But I can't really do that.
It's gone a little bit berserk at the moment. So watch this space. We were told earlier, or someone said about 5 o'clock, there should be an announcement today on UK TV, because allegedly what happened leak-wise?
Oh yeah, I just read that it had been leaked against Boris Johnson's. He said that he didn't want that leaked until he announced it, supposedly, and obviously it leaked. So that's yeah, he wasn't happy supposedly.
Yeah, allegedly things leak from the boardrooms of government in this country, which is quite ironic. So we're going to have a big Churchillian speech at 5 o'clock.
Oh my god! And it probably, I wonder if we have the scientists, because normally you have the scientists out first, so you get Witty or Valence or whoever it is to give out some graphs with some doom and gloom on, and then he introduced the measures, because you can't have these measures without showing the doom and gloom.
Well, we'll have to have Valence there, because Valence, after all, is a major shareholder of GlaxoSmithKline, so he's got to be there to push his agenda.
Yeah, of course.
Then we'll have my favourite, which is my my headmistress, Professor Jenny Harris, who's the Deputy Chief Medical Officer of this country, who not so long ago, and I posted some video footage of it, was telling Boris Johnson it's not a good idea to wear face masks. Yeah. And you can see it go on. You go online, and you can see that very bit of footage, about 20 seconds long. So these buffoons who were stood on the podest on a stage in Downing Street telling us to behave in a certain way,
mate. Crazy, man.
And people are going along with it. That's the issue that I have with it,
mate. Because how like, to me, it's how far do you go? If the government just kept saying this is for your own benefit, next thing, and it's a more tighter squeeze, how far is enough for someone to go, well, these restrictions far exceed the threat of this thing that you're saying we should be scared of? I mean, what limit do you go, well, that's too far, I know this is dangerous or whatever, I believe whatever, but this is too much, is there a limit? Because to me that limit's already been crossed, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And in the meantime, by the way, hospitals are still empty, or it's business as usual. My landlady went to the hospital a couple of days ago for medication. She came out, she said there's ambulances parked outside again. It's normal, you don't have to wear face masks in the hospital.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
You don't have to wear face
she didn't have to wear one. She went in there, she didn't have to wear one. She went into the reception area, they were sat behind plexiglass, she said, and you could walk around. If you didn't want to wear a face mask, you could say you didn't want to wear a face mask. It was no problem at all.
No.
Yeah, I asked her specifically. She was at Poole Hospital, not Bournemouth. Might be different in Bournemouth.
Yeah, because
maybe the virus is more extreme in Bournemouth than it is in Poole.
Well, there's always these stupid rules, so maybe it's more dangerous over there.
Well, don't forget, one ambulance crew once told us to wear face masks on the way to the hospital. This is a couple of months ago, and then when we got in an ambulance to come back, they didn't even mention face masks to us. We could sit in the back of it and didn't have to wear one.
Really?
Yeah, mate, I was with her when it happened.
Makes total sense.
It's absolute mental. It's like, well, you've got a ruling in place, or you haven't got a ruling in place.
Mate, no one knows. No one has a clue. Most people, when you go to the shops, think you need some GP certificate, or you have to wear a lanyard, and you don't. No. If you're exempt, you just got to say I'm exempt, and that's as far as they can really allow.
Yeah, you're protected by the 1998 Data Protection Act or the Equality Act of 2010. They're the two acts you can quote in any shop here in the UK.
I haven't got it on me, but the actual, that Equality Act is you can't, a shop owner can't say store policy you have to wear a mask, because the Equality Act supersedes that. So if someone has an exemption for whatever reason, they may have some respiratory problems, or they may have anxiety, whatever it is, if they've got an exemption, a shop owner can't go, well, we can't let you in anyway, it's company policy, you've got to wear a mask, because the guidelines by the government is exemptions are allowed, and obviously then it goes against, that means someone's discriminating you because of a disability then.
Correct. And the Data Protection Act means you don't have to explain your medical condition.
No, exactly.
that happens to exempt you from having to wear one.
Yeah, so you shouldn't say that to someone you don't know, should you? What's that got to do with it?
And even asking a question isn't quite legal either, allegedly, according to that.
That's true, there's a fine they say up to 9,000, but you are right.
So no one can come up to you and say, why aren't you not wearing a mask? Well, it's none of your business. I'm exempt. That's all you need to know.
And that's it. And you don't need to get a GP letter, or you don't need a note from the doctor.
Correct.
And you do not need to wear a lanyard. People choose to wear a lanyard just to save confrontation, and it does
to stop the conversation and the confrontation, perhaps, or to feel more comfortable. I understand that. But you don't have to. And
out of choice, I choose not to wear one. I mean, I have one in my pocket in case, because before I had one, I've had a couple of people.
Well, you're on about a lanyard now,
lanyard, which says I'm exempt. And I've had a few incidents where, obviously the people who worked in the place were absolutely clueless to exemptions, and they just would not let me in. And this was a couple of times, and I wish I had that on me so I could have showed them, because they said, oh, you need something to prove it, and I didn't have one. You don't need one anyway, but that's why I have it now, but I've never actually used it.
What do they want from you? Do they want you with a file of your medical records,
just a little bit of cards enough. Anyone could have got one online.
Well, this is the thing, you can, all you have to do is just print it off of the .gov, the gov.co.uk.
Let me tell you a funny story about this, actually. It shows you people's just, their stupidity sometimes. sometimes. This is in America, and I don't know if I mentioned to you before anyway, but in America, they don't have quite the same like exemption rules that we do. Over here, it's a bit more straightforward. If you're exempt, you just say you're exempt, and that's pretty much it. In America, you need like, don't quote me on this, but I think it's pretty much you have to wear a mask no matter what, and if you don't have one, you do need some kind of doctor's permit note or something. But anyway, there's this guy who created, it's just literally a blue bracelet. It's like a blue, like one of them, like threaded ones where it's just weaved and that. It's just a little one. And he literally would record himself going around the shop saying, and when he would go in, he'd have like secret glasses, so it's just recording through his glasses. And they go, "Oh, excuse me, sir, where's your mask?" And he would just go, "Oh no, I've got the blue bracelet, I'm exempt." And they go, "Oh, sorry sir, we didn't mean to, sorry, carry on." And like, just him wearing this blue bracelet was got nothing to do with anything. He just bought it online. They were going, "Oh yeah, that's fine." So it just shows you like the mentality. People don't have a clue.
That's the human nature, isn't it? Yeah. And this is the thing, if you're confident enough to do that, then people will buy into it. It's a bit like doing a job as a salesman. You do the old saying about selling sand to an Arab. Well, you can if you can convince somebody that you need this product. Yeah. They'll run with it. It's lying, really. Let's face it. But and half of these shops, I went for a coffee again to the Conto Lounge in Winton, just up the road here, with a few friends a couple of days ago. And it's the same thing. You have to sign in and all that, and the guy would be explaining to you your how to behave in the restaurant. And he handed this box around, there were face masks in, and he just looked at me and I said, "Not for me, thanks." That was it. He didn't question any further. He put the box down.
Be confident in what you do, man.
But I was confident about it, because I think he sort of saw, well, if he was going to question it, I would have had an answer. Yeah. So he didn't bother.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was that done.
Subconsciously, people can pick up on that, can't they?
Yeah, they can pick up on that. And that wasn't me being cocky or anything. It was just like, he knew his law kind of thing. And obviously his boss had told him, if someone says no, then you can't force the issue. That's it. Yeah. Done.
And I've had the experience, when they first introduced the mask in the shops, I used to walk in a bit. I used to feel timid, like, because I didn't want the confrontation. I still did it anyway, walked in without a mask. Yeah. But I felt nervous, and I felt, if they asked me, I don't know what to say. And over time, my confidence grew to the point where I completely clued up what to say. Like, I know how to, defend myself in a confrontation around it.
But it's ironic, isn't it? Because now it's got to the point where we're actually very comfortable about not wearing a mask, and yet now we're approaching hardball, which is the vaccination.
Yeah. So
now it's getting heavy now, because we're going to have a lockdown coming. Yeah. It's right there around the corner. Mate. And what was the excuse that I heard a couple of days ago? It's to save us having to have one over Christmas. They're going to pull it forward.
So how the hell does that make sense? Mate, listen, don't believe them as well, because they said it was only a couple of weeks to flatten the curve. So if they're saying have a lockdown now to get ready for Christmas, that is a load of bollocks. Sorry,
it's bad, isn't it? I know, but you're right. Well, there's no other word to express that. Yeah. It is bull. It's ridiculous. Anyway, so on that physical note, we will, I'm sure, get back to you again soon. But good day had by all, though, wasn't it? Really, altogether. All right. So Al, thanks very much. Speak to you all later. Have a serene weekend. Bye bye.